ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Can you hear me any better today? Not you, I'm talking to them. Because we have increased the speed of the, what is it called? What did we increase that? Internet. We have increased the speed of the internet. Is it better? Can you see that? Okay, wonderful. Very nice. They all love it. They love you, Soumya. That's great. Yeah. So wonderful. Yes, they're all saying yes. Picture is clear, sound is clear. Now the mind should be clear. That's all. That's all we want to take in the knowledge. Yes, exactly. This is actually, this is not century link, this is link of many centuries. That is what is called Guru Parampara, and that is how the text begins. Do you have a copy of the text in your hand? Okay, yeah. Read it. Repeat after me. Vasudevendra Yogindram
Vasudevendra Yogindram
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya
Mukshunam Hitarthaya
Tattvabodho Bhidhiyate.
Tattvabodha Vidhiyate.
This we had seen, correct? Yeah. Keep opening. Did you find the prayer? Yeah, you keep opening until you page 3. Yeah. Did you find it?
Yes.
All right. Did everybody find it? Yeah. So that we have seen, having bowed to the teacher of teachers, who is the yogi of all, the king of all the yogis, who is the guru, whose name is Vasudevendra. And Vasudevendra is also a name of what? Lord Krishna, who is all pervasive. So, and then who is probably the name of the Guru, also perhaps of Lord Krishna, who is the Ishtadevata, Natva, having bowed down to. Then what happens, having bowed down to the Guru and Bhagavan and Ishvara, I herewith present the Tattvabodha. What is Tattvabodha? The title of the book is called Tattvabodha. And also, in the English, this is it's an important linguistic thing. So I want you to listen to this. In the English language, the use of the passive voice is discouraged because it's not taking agency. If you say this was done by so and so, in fact, even most spell corrects will put that in, in Microsoft Word. It will put that in red or not red, maybe green, and then you find out why. If you ask the spell check to say, it will suggest to put it in active voice. Okay, why? Because there's a sense of ownership and responsibility taken of of that particular thing at hand. But in the Sanskrit language, the passive voice is very, very needed, and it's a humbling technique to use the passive voice, especially in matters of authorship. The Tattva Bodha is presented, and then you have to assume by whom? By me, he is saying, or by the author, correct? You don't say, I am presenting the Tattva Bodha. Why? Because who is the I? There is only one I. Who is that I? Not me. It is Bhagavan. It is me ultimately. But I don't say, I am writing this, because as soon as I say, I am writing this, then all the things that assisted me into becoming who I am to write this, starting with mother's milk, is forgotten. Yeah. So that each time you say, you are writing this, and also especially since the topic, subject matter is what? Vedanta. Who is the author of Vedanta? Bhagavan. and so you can't take authorship for what you haven't done. So therefore, I wanted to comment on the passive voice. So the author we know is traditional, is true, is authentic, and then it gives us the confidence to read him further. Yeah, because there is that humbleness, the humility. It's not me. I am in a position of being able to receive so many things, and that's why I'm able to write this, even so. It's really not me. Yeah. So, it's page 4. So, not in your online books, okay? Yeah, in your online books, you're on your own. Yeah, wherever it is. So, after the prayer, the very next thing. Yeah. I can't even say verse number because it's in prose. Yeah, so, please manage. साधन चतुष्टय
साधनचतुष्टय
संपन्न
सम्पन्ना
अधिकारिणाम्
अधिकारिणां
मोक्ष साधन
मोक्षसाधन
भूतं
भूतं
तत्त्वविवेक
तत्त्वविवेक
प्रकारं
प्रकारं
वक्ष्यामः
वक्ष्यामः
साधनचतुष्टयम्
साधनचतुष्टयं
किं
किं
नित्यानित्य
नित्यानित्य
वस्तु
वास्तु
विवेकः
विवेकः
इहामुत्र
इहामुत्र
फलभोग
फलभोग
विरागः
विरागः
समाधि
समाधि
षट्क
षट्क
सम्पत्तिः
सम्पत्तिः
मुमुक्षुत्वं
मुमुक्षुत्वं
चेति.
चेति.
Yeah. So it starts straight away with talking about what is required to read this text. What is the minimum thing required to read anything? Language, correct? Yeah. And here that also one is absolved of because one is studying, so all that is explained. So even without Sanskrit, and also because we live in a time where everything has been translated into so many languages, this is already translated. Thank God, we don't even have to. We can be absolved from the linguistic, requirement. So the basic requirement is what? I need to know the language of what I'm reading. But here, that is not even a requirement because it's been translated. So what other requirements are there? Some basic requirements are there for the person to read this, to understand it, and to make use of it. It's not just enough to read and understand, you have to make use of it. It has to be used. And so, what is it that is, what are these things and who is this written for? Last time we saw Adhikari, the fourfold Anubandhas. What are they? Adhikari, the qualified person, subject matter, Prayojana, the purpose, subject matter, purpose, the audience for whom it is written, and the relationship between the subject matter and the book, and the relationship between the book and the reader, the relationship between the reader after reading the book, what is the gain, and the prayojana, what is the purpose, is the purpose after reading this book gained. So all this we saw, these fourfold things that are there in the first verse itself, we saw that. So then he elaborates this further, and he says that this book is for those who are endowed with the fourfold qualifications. Adhikari, endowed with the adhikara. What is the adhikara? The right to study this. And who is that? Sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. Sampanna, endowed with. Sadhana is means or qualifications. Chatushtaya, fourfold. So the one who is endowed, for the one who is endowed with the fourfold qualification, and this is presented. And what is presented? Tattvabodha prakaram. Prakaram, the ability, or the ability to do what? The ability to distinguish between untruth and truth. The ability to know the truth. What is the truth? Sat. And that Sat is known as Tat here. And that Tat means that. So that means the truth of everything, because everything resolves into the something called that. That which has treeness is tree. See, for example. So pot resolves into clay. Clay is more remote than pot, in my understanding, correct? Pot is available here and now, Clay is a little bit more remote. I have to think of clay, which is a little away from the pot in the minds of someone who's not educated about the fact that everything is one. So, in the mind of a common person unexposed to Vedanta, is clay more remote than pot or not? Yes, because clay means I have to look somewhere else. Where are you looking? Pot, clay is right here. This is what is called the elucidation or the unfolding of the truth for that mind which is engrossed in duality, and is so much so that it thinks of pot and takes the pot to be the name and form that it is, without looking at the fact that actually it resolves in something else other than itself, which is really this clay which is available right here and now. So supposing again, if I wanted to resolve the clay further, so clay is made up of what? Molecules, clay molecules, correct? Yeah. And those clay molecules are where? Again, I have to look somewhere else. Why? Because I'm not used to looking at the world in this manner. But the truth is what? If the clay is right here, where are the molecules of the clay? Sticking to the clay. In fact, they are in the form of clay, correct? Then the molecules further resolve into particles, you know. And when I'm talking of particles, then you again further remoteness. Then I feel like opening a physics book to look at the definition of particles so that I know I don't get it wrong. Crazy, totally crazy. Where is the particle? Right where the clay is. That is where the particle is. Okay? Then after the particles resolve into what? Quark. This is the smallest known thing, to the physicists. Tomorrow they'll come up with another terminology, and the next one will be called quark, after quark. So the quark, where is the quark? Then I get really worried. Okay, I don't know that much physics. I don't know where to look for the quark. Can you please help me look for the quark? Yeah. I can help you look for the quirk, not for the quark. The quirk that is leading you to look for the quark, I can help resolve. That's what this author is saying with this text. So therefore what? Where is the quark? The same place that the particle was, the quark is, correct? The same place that the particle is, the molecule is, correct? And same place where the molecule is, the clay is, correct? And the same place where the clay is, the pot is. So what is common in all this? Quark is, molecule is, particle is, clay is, pot is. How many is? Yeah, you have succeeded in the is quiz. So there is only one is, correct? And is that is remote or right here? Right here. That is where atra eva, here. So you cannot any longer call it that is, correct? So that is, in my understanding, converts immediately into what? This is. And what is this? This is that this resolves into I. Because pot, when you came all the way from quarks. Quark, molecule, quark, particle, molecule, clay, pot. Right? Pot is. Who is saying pot is? Pot is it pot is declaring I am, aham asmi, aham brahmasmi? No. Who is saying pot is? I. So the pot, the observed resolves into the observer. So what is left now? I is. Is I is remote, or I is grammatically wrong, but bear with me. I is the fact that I is. This I, is it remote or right here? Huh? There is the I right here. That's why you don't need to check up to find out am I here or not. Correct? Right here alone is there. And so this I alone is, and that which I thought was that Somewhere far away, the truth of this isness is right here, right now, in the form of nothing more remote than I, which is not non-remote. The least remote thing is I. Yeah. That which does not need a remote control is I. Every other device you have to click. Yeah. That is the I doesn't need anything at all. And so this I alone is. That text which helps me decide that is this text. Now I really want to study. Yeah, I want to too. Let's go on. Yeah. So Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. Vakshyamaha means we will tell you that. Yeah. Who is this we? I thought there was only one author. Who is this suddenly we? Huh? All the sages that helped me understand it, that went before me. All of us, the whole Guru Parampara, the lineage of all the teachers is invoked. Why? To give it the stamp of authenticity. Compare this to the West, where the stamp of authenticity is I, me, myself. But what kind of I, me, myself? It's this fragmented I, one that is striving for recognition, who says, I did this all on my own, you know. And in fact, in our tradition, if somebody says, I did this all on my own, we don't read that book. We don't eat that food. Yeah. So that's why when you go to India and you compliment somebody, oh, you've made this so well. I mean, in here, if you compliment, they'll say thank you. They'll say thank you for no reason. Like sometimes, this a conversation I overheard on one of my walks in DC. I was walking, there were two other people, and this person they were crossing this person. It was happening right in front of me. And then the person who was crossing said to the person who was walking, just passing me, nice t-shirt. And what did this person say? Thank you. They are not complimenting the person. The t-shirt, if you are able to say thank you, should say thank you. But the t-shirt is not saying thank you. Who is saying thank you? The one who confuses himself with the t-shirt is saying thank you. Nice dog. Thank you. I won't comment on that. so and then what? And you contrast this with the East. Somebody cooks very well, and whether they mean it or not, many times they don't mean it, but this is the culture. No. It's all God's grace. It's my mother's grace. It's my father's grace. It's my guru's grace. It's the lineage's grace. This is what even if they don't mean it, they will say. It's Bhagavan's grace, it's your grace, they will say like that. Yeah. Even if you don't mean it, it's a good practice, because once you start repeating it, you see a whole, all the paper in the world is not enough. All the gigabytes of memory in the world is not enough to record all the things that are helping you do any particular thing at any given point in time, including logging on to this class. Yeah. Really. So many things went before us. This is a very humbling thing. So that's why he says, Vakshyamaha, we are about to tell. Future, simple future. Lit, Paroksha Bhut. Yeah. So that is to come in the Sanskrit class. Log on Thursday. So that is what it is. So, this is what the whole thing is that we are about to tell that which resolves the remoteness, the duality, by revealing this I as the cause of the universe. This is not just some lip service. By revealing the truth. And how do we reveal the truth? By sifting that which is the relative is until we go to the absolute is. Correct? Because now the relative is, like pot is confused for the ultimate or the absolute is. When the absolute is known, then the relative is enjoyable. When the absolute is unknown, the relative is becomes the relative is, because there are many of them, become absolute and become absolutely terrifying. Want me to say that again? No? Yes. So when the absolute is not known, When the source of the absolute is as I is unknown or not known, then the relative ises, which are varied and many in number, pot is, clay is, all names and forms, become absolute because the absolute is unknown. So I mistake the relative for the absolute. And what is the consequence of that? Samsara, absolute terror, absolute misery, absolute feeling of glub, glub, glub. What is glub, glub, glub? Huh? What is that?
Drowning in the ocean.
Drowning sensation. Ah, yeah. So the relative and the absolute must be sifted. The relative has a say, has a bearing, has a reality, but it is not as real as the absolute. Ah, that is what we are going to listen to. Wonderful. Yeah. So then, of course, every Upanishad, every teaching has a student teacher dialogue, correct? Yeah. And even if there is no student or teacher, we manufacture the dialogue to show that this is not something based on belief, which is a real relief that it is not based on belief. Yeah. It's not like, God made the world, you know, God made, the world. Where is God? God is in heaven. Then, of course, all it takes is a 6-year-old who's going to Sunday school to ask, because the 6-year-old is logical. And the 6-year-old will say, where was God before he made heaven? Who made heaven? God made heaven. Where was God before he made heaven? First of all, he is itself a questionable thing. Where was God before he made heaven? You know? And the 6-year-old will conclude God must have been in hell. Why did God make a hell for himself? That is what will happen. We don't know how to answer. If something is beyond logic, we can at least look at it. But we cannot understand things that are against logic. Yeah. So therefore, this is not belief based. God in the Hindu tradition is a matter for understanding, not belief. It has to be understood. It takes whatever time it takes, let it take. It is something revealed as the truth of this I, as the absolute truth, which is, and the only thing that is absolute is I, and the same I in the form of that which controls the orders in the universe is presented as Ishvara. Two different upadhis, two different containers, the same presence, the same undissolvable, unresolvable, irresolute, undeniable, non negotiable, non negatable presence. That is one that has to be understood. So, the understanding, of course, is based on a number of questions. Without questions, your understanding is questionable. Yeah. Without questions, the understanding itself becomes questionable because you're just saying, yeah, 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 yeah. And then what? Don't ask questions. This is how, that's when it becomes a, some kind of a totalitarian institution. You're not allowed to ask questions. This is how it is. Now, the yoga which they are doing in India, every yoga has got what is called Surya Namaskar. To the sun, sun, literally called sun salutations, correct? Yeah. So you go like that and you bend and then you do some animal poses, down dog, up dog, barking dog, quiet dog, you know. then that is good. And it's the only all body exercise really which uses almost every other muscle in the body, really, which is very, very wide. And they say if you do 4 a day, one side is 1 and then the other side, that's 2 becomes 1. So if you do 4 of those a day, you don't need any other exercise. It's enough. It's a weight bearing exercise. And now in India, or maybe somewhere else, but I read it's in India, they have issued a fatwa. The Muslim leaders, the radical clergy, has issued a fatwa on sun salutation. Fatwa means if anybody practices it and belongs to the Muslim faith, they can be, given instant moksha. That is what is a fatwa. Yes? And why? Because you're saluting the sun. And we don't recognize anything other than Allah. And that is fine. It's fine as a belief, But if this is what I'm talking about, a belief-based tradition. That's fine to have as a belief. Nobody says don't pray to whatever form you want. That's a belief. But then you can't ask any more questions. Can you ask why? You know, you can, but you won't be given answers. But ours is not a belief based tradition. That's why every text, every Upanishad, whether it is overt or covert, has the presence of students and teachers in it to afford the possibility of constant questioning and dialogue. This is to show that without this dialogue, one remains like a log. Means no, only tamas, no enlightenment, no understanding of oneself. Yeah. This dialogue, this was very much a Socratic system of teaching in ancient Greece. It was a lot of dialogue. A student would ask, and sometimes the teacher would respond with a question. And sometimes the teacher would respond with a response. Correct? And so here too, there is a question answer format used in this prose text. And what does that mean? That there is somebody who's asking the question. Who is that? The guru, right? And the shishya is answering, correct? No. Good, everybody is awake. So, who is asking the questions? The shishya. Who is shishya? Student. And who is answering? The teacher is answering the question. And so, as soon as the first thing on the teacher says is, we will describe the way to look at what is relative and what is absolute and totally show you how to do this. And then the student asks, sadhana chatushtayam kim? What is this fourfold qualification? Oh, teacher is implied. Yeah. And then the teacher goes through the fourfold qualifications, And the answer of the teacher is until mumukshutvam cheti, because you see the next one is again a question mark. So wherever there is a question mark, who said it? Student. Okay? Yeah. So the answer of the teacher is that I will describe the fourfold qualifications the teacher says. What are these fourfold qualifications? All right, let me tell you. The first one is called Viveka. Yeah, Viveka means what? Discrimination. That everybody knows. Yeah, discrimination between what and what? Mangoes and oranges. Huh? Mithya and? Nitya and Anitya. What is Nitya? Nitya is. That absolute is called Nitya, which we just talked about. Anitya is what? Everything else. Very easy. So how to distinguish between the true is and the other contending is, which are really is nots? That becomes the life's primary question. What to take as real and what to take as not real, what to not take so seriously. And this is what is talked about, is that is the first qualification to know what is it that I really want. Because even if the person says, I'm not interested in clay, I only want pot. Correct? Even if they argue, I don't want a block of gold, I want the ornament, I don't want the real, I'm happy with the unreal. What will you say to them? Namaha. Namo Namaha. Actually, what you would say to them, if you were taking them seriously as a student, would be that in and through everything that you want, that the truth of everything that you want is that absolute is alone, which is I. What you want is that what is absolute. That's why all your experiences, you want it to be absolutely perfect. And what do you want? Absolutely to be absolutely happy. Absolute means limitless. Think. And then, everything that I want should be in absolute measure. So even if the object of want is time bound, One is not really interested in the object. More about this later. One is interested in what? In feeling absolute. That's what it is. And that person has to be told absolute is not a feeling, it's the truth of yourself. So that is called, this will all be explained in detail. This is just a listing. The teacher is very succinct here. The teacher doesn't talk too much. The teacher only gives as much as he or she is asked. So here the student says, what is this fourfold qualification? The teacher simply lists. Because the teacher knows the student. Student will have more questions later. Yeah. So then that is Viveka. What is next? Vairagya. What is Vairagya? Second one. Yeah. Dispassion. Say that with a little more passion. Dispassion. So what is dispassion? Dispassion means what? Dispassion towards what? Dispassion towards name and form, one way to say it. Dispassion towards all the things that belong into the category of the relative. Why? Because I want the absolute. It's like a bald man going through the shampoo aisle in the supermarket. He has complete dispassion. Doesn't look to the left, doesn't look to the right. He's not interested in gel. Every gel is hell. So, and then he's not interested in bouncing conditioners. He's not interested in shampoos. He's not interested in, things that, in vitamins for the hair. Yeah, for the hair also they have vitamins. Yeah. Vitamins for the hair. He's not interested in curlers. He's not interested in anything, correct? Yeah. If you set loose a bunch of bald men into the shampoo and the hair care aisle of the supermarket, that attitude with which they walk through the aisles is called Vairagya. Why? Because it is of no use to be interested in the shampoo, because it's not what they want. It's not what they can use. So similarly, the person who is interested in understanding the truth of the absolute, the relative just drops off. Yeah. That is called Vairagya. What else is it? Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi. Sampattihi means treasure. What is treasure? Middle of page 5. What is treasure? Treasure is an ornamentation. What is the ornament here? 6 things that are the ornaments. Wait! What have you just done? You just said there was a total of 4 and now you have sneaked in 6. Have you no shame? Well, that 6 is actually 1. Why didn't you tell me before? Because I wanted you to continue to read, okay? Yeah. I didn't want you to leave the class. So, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. Adi means the beginning. So, that 6-fold ornamentation that begins with Shama, etc. Let us at least rattle them off. Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha. Main one was left out.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What? What's that? Shraddha. And then Samadhanam. This is the 6-fold things that one ought to develop. Yeah, Shraddha. Very good. And then finally that 6 is 1. So we have discussed Viveka, first one, Vairagya, second one, Shama, etc. Third one. And what is the 4th one? Mumukshutvam. But then there is one more. Look at that word. Cheti. What is Cheti? Cha iti. Are you sure? Are you sure Cheti is not one more qualification? No? Okay. Cha means and, iti means thus. And thus means this is the end of the list. Alright? Okay. The student is a jabberer. Nitya Nitya
Nitya Nitya
Vastu Vivekaha
Vastu Vivekaha
Kaha.
Kaha.
Yeah, ask another question. Yeah, the jabbering student asks, what is this? What is this discrimination between the eternal, the absolute, and that which is time bound? What is that? How to distinguish? How to have this viveka? So many questions. And the teacher responds, Nitya Vastu
Nitya Vastu
Ekam Brahma
Ekam Brahma
Tad Vyatiriktam.
Tad Vyatiritam
Again, Tad Vyatiriktam.
Tad Vyatiritam.
I think it's misspelled. Yeah. Yeah, but read the English. The English is not tad Vyatiriktam. It should be. Yeah. Tad Vyatiriktam
Tad Vyatiritam
Sarvam
Sarvam
Anityam
Anityam
Ayameva
Ayameva
Nitya Nitya
Nitya Nitya
Vastu Vivekaha.
Vastu Vivekaha.
Yeah. The answer is very simple. There is only one thing which is absolute. Nitya Vastu Ekam. Ekam means two, right? No, one. Yeah. Sure? Yeah. Ekam means one. Nitya Vastu Ekam. Thank God. Yeah. There's only one thing which is limitless. There's only one thing which is absolute. There's only one thing which is whole. There's only one thing which you are seeking. There's only one thing which is Nitya. And what is that thing? Brahma. Brahman. Oh, this is new. I thought it will say chocolate cake. You know? Why? Because, in one, somewhere I saw real chocolate cake, and inside a little circle after real chocolate cake, and they put the M trademarked. So they are trademarking the word real, Nitya, for what? Chocolate cake. Yeah. So what is this Nitya Vastu which is only one in number? Quick. Brahman. Why is it taking so long? What is Brahman? I. The truth of this I is Brahman. I alone am Brahman. Look around. How many eyes are there? Only one. Each one refers to that presence as I. So even if you say each one, how many ones? One. One I in many hearts. So, Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma. Yeah, we've repeated that. You can repeat that again, no problem. Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma. Then he says, okay, then what about Anitya? Because once I know Nitya, I need to know Anitya, correct? Yeah. His definition of Anitya is even more simple. Tad Vyatiriktam. Anything that is opposite to that. What? Other than I is what? Anityam, perishable, that which is subject to death, that which is subject to problems, that which is subject to the sixfold cycle. What cycle? Yeah, is born, birth, survival of birth, growth, maturation, if not emotional, at least physical. And then fifth one, what? Yeah. Yeah. Fifth one is what? Decline. Sixth one is what? Bye bye. Yeah. So you cannot say the person died. No, the person did not die. That which is called the person Purusha is ever there. Yeah. That particular name and form in which that I was for those many number of years has been resolved. Why? Because that which is subject to birth is subject to that resolution. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityuh dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Bhagavan Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that which is subject to birth certainly is subject to death. That which is not subject to birth is not subject to death. Where does the I come? Subject to birth or not subject to birth? Not subject to birth. If it's not subject to birth, what is this I also not subject to? Death. Ah. So the I that is free of this sixfold thing, I is free of old age. I or Atma doesn't need antioxidants. Yeah. CoQ10. People, I don't know what that is, but everybody is taking it. Yeah. Somebody afterwards somebody can tell me what it is. I want to know. So everybody is saying CoQ. They keep on talking about it. And then Atma does not need dentures. Yeah. Why doesn't it need dentures? It doesn't need to take a bite out of life. Yeah. It doesn't need, a crutch. It doesn't need a walking stick because it is all like drooped over. Atma is 92. No. Yesterday, how old Atma was? Ageless. Today, how old Atma is? Ageless. Tomorrow, how old Atma will be? Ageless. So when Atma celebrates a birthday, how many candles will you put on the chocolate cake?
No.
This is like a
No
Hindu cone. Yeah, there is no birthday for Atma. Why? Why there is no birthday? It was not born. Simple. If something is not born, will you have a birthday for it? No. Think of the word birthday. The word birthday means the celebration of the day on which it was born. So Atma cannot have birthdays. Oh, Atma cannot have candles. Oh no, Atma cannot have birthday cake. Yeah, why? Because it was never born. So before you start feeling sad about that, think about the fact that Atma will not have a memorial either, will not have a gravestone, will not need to have a funeral. Both sides. Now everybody is happy. See, I saved the best for last. Yeah. What is Atma? Aham. I. Neither is this Atma subject to sickness. Starting with, headache, etc. Nothing affects the eye. The eye is unaffected. So this is so ekam vastu nityam. And anything that is not that, what is it not that? Anything that is an object. This is the beginning distinction we have to make. The Viveka is in the beginning we have to do this. Later on everything is the objects all resolve into the subject. Like the pot resolved into the observer, and because it doesn't have an independent existence outside of the subject. But to distinguish that, first I have to make a pact with myself. And what is that pact? That I start relentlessly looking at every object, and if it can be seen, touched, tasted, smelt, heard, inferred, or known in any other way, it is not Brahman. This is the beginning Viveka, beginning level. Vedanta 001. Yeah. Correct? So Vedanta 001 or 101 is I make a distinction between the subject and the object. The subject I, special, the object, what? Perishable. Anything that I use the word that or this to describe is perishable, including this body. You see now the eye is getting much more subtle. This mind, why? Because it's driving me crazy. And how do I know it's driving me crazy? Because I am not the mind, I am the observer of the monkey mind, including these senses. So anything that I say, that, this, these, those, are all what? Anitya, to be eschewed. Because what I really want is I, Brahman, Nitya. This is what is called Nitya. Tad Vyatiriktam, anything that is an object, anything that is the opposite of this Brahman or not Brahman, distinct from that. And distinct means anything that is known as an object is what? Not I. This is what is Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. The teacher cannot even breathe. Why? Next question comes. Viragah
विरागः
Kah
कः
Iha
इह
Swarga
स्वर्ग
Bhogeshu
भोगेषु
Ichha
इच्छा
Rahityam.
राहित्यम्
Aha. So then the student asks the next question. What is the next question? What is viraga? Viraga is just another way to say vairagya. So viveka has been understood, correct? Say yes, even if you don't mean it. Yeah, good. So I can move along. Later on, you can have more questions. So, next one after viveka is which? What on the list? Dispassion or Sanskrit? Viragah or Vairagya. Okay? So the word Vairagya comes from Raga, from Ranj, to revel, a coloration. Raga, fondness, likes, includes also dislikes. Viragah, free of likes and dislikes. And here, specifically, free of the objects of likes and dislikes literally means viragah, and the noun form of that, the abstract noun viraganess, is called vairagyam. It's a suffix called shyanj. Never mind about that. Yeah. Don't worry about that. It's a particular suffix. Yeah. The ng goes away, the sha goes away. It's just ya, viragya. So it causes adi vriddhi, so v becomes y. Vairagya. Okay? Yeah. Just for fun. So now, so what is viraga? Who asks? The teacher, correct? Yes? The teacher asks? No, student. So, and what does the teacher say? Iha. Iha means here. Iha. Iha means here. Amutra means there. So what is the Sanskrit word for iha? Here. No, the other way around. What is the Sanskrit word for here? Iha. What is the Sanskrit word for elsewhere? Amutra. And amutra here has a specific meaning. It is called hereafter. So here, iha, amutra, hereafter. So iha, amutra, and then iha and swarga. Swarga means what? Heaven. Swarga means heaven. Because a lot of people are heaven bound. A lot of religions are heaven bound. Many of the religious scriptures, including the first portions of the Veda included, are nothing but glossy tourist brochures describing heaven and ticket selling travel agents. That's all it is. Really. Please go, please go, please go. Array, I'm sad now. Never mind, you go there. You'll be happy. It's like somebody is hungry. Somebody is hungry. When? Now. And then you say, in heaven, there is so much payasam. What is payasam? Lovely kheer, lovely something, pongal. All these things are there, horn of plenty. I'm thirsty now. No. The divine wine is so much juice and wine is flowing in heaven. Please go drink. Yeah. If you say that to somebody who's hungry or thirsty, those will be the last few words that one utters. Yeah, yeah, because this is the hunger is happening when? Now. Did you create the hunger? Yeah. Did you come with a decision? I'm going to be hungry every 3 hours. Somebody corrected when I said this. They said 2. They shouted from the crowd. So did you come with a decision? I'm going to be hungry regularly after every 3 hours. And then people get very happy when the doctor says, You must have small, frequent meals. Ha 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 ha. And most of the time, they don't hear the word small. They only hear you should have frequent meals. Ha ha ha. Lovely. It's like I've told this before, but I think I want to say this again. It's like this fellow went to the doctor. The doctor put him on the scale. What scale? Weighing scale. And said, "Oh my God, since your last visit, you have gained a lot of pounds. This is bad for cholesterol. This is bad for your blood pressure has increased. Everything is whatever. You have to go on a diet. You have to eat specific things. How do I do that, doctor? How do I, excuse me, eat specific things? He asks. And, please give me what to eat because I've never done this before. And the doctor said, it's very easy. In the morning, have half a cup of non-fat skim milk, and then after that, you can have a few things. You can have one dry chapati without butter or ghee, and then you can have some boiled vegetables, and then you can have, when you make the lentils, don't have the lentils, have the water of the lentils from the top, and then again, instead of having rice, you can have the water from the rice on top, kanji, what do you call it in English? Kanji, same thing, rice kanji, yeah, the ganji you have, and then, you have some dry crackers without cheese, you'll be okay. So he wrote it down, thank you, and a small piece of fruit. Okay, thank you, this really helped. He said, now I have an important question. What is that? Should I have this with breakfast, with lunch, or with dinner, or also in between? How many times a day I have to have this? He thought this is medicine. So, so this Swarga Bhoga is like that. So the Swarga is advertised, for something that is an immediate need. If you advertise something, go far away, and after this life, which you don't even know. I mean, with great difficulty, I know that I have this life. And then after this life, is there an afterlife? I don't know. Is there a heaven? I don't know. And if there is a heaven, having gone there, I will like it? I do not know. And how am I to take your word that in heaven there is going to be small, frequent meals? You don't know. So therefore, the need for hunger is when? Here. Correct? And the need for food is when? Here. And the need to be free of being caught in the relative, mistaking the relative for the absolute and being in absolute misery is when? Later on or now? Now. It is taking so long. Yeah. Ongoing. Now going, ongoing. This is what it is. I want to be free now. I don't want to be free in the hereafter. I want to be free here in this body. If hereafter is the source of the freedom, then why am I here? Correct? Is this human life a detour or what? What detour? So otherwise, I should go from afterlife to afterlife. So these glossy heaven-going brochures, believe in this and you will go to heaven. You will play. Even the Vedas are not exempt from this. I'm not just making fun of religions. I'm making fun of the beliefs. So that one can see the truth of these beliefs. You can appreciate the belief that there is a heaven, no problem. That it's a pleasant place, no problem. That I want to go there is also not a problem. That's the only goal in life is in afterlife. Now I have a big problem with that. A huge problem with that, because if the goal in life is elsewhere, afterlife, then why is this life there? Then you cannot say what is the goal in life. Correct? Then you should say what is the goal of afterlife. Okay, heaven, no problem. What is the goal of this life? The goal of this life cannot be go to afterlife. That makes no sense. It is one of these things that is against logic. So therefore what? This heaven-bound business, which is part of our collective conditioning because of having been born through organized and non-organized religions. This is a conditioning that has to be questioned, if not given up. This is a questioning that has to be interrogated in the light of what? What went previously. Viveka. Ah. Because what is Nitya? If this heaven is Nitya, then it is situated outside of me. That means what? That means there is already a problem. That which is situated outside of I cannot be limitless. Why? Because I, which is outside of that which I am considering limitless, is limiting that. Correct? If I am outside of limitlessness, am I limiting that which is called limitlessness or not? Think. Naturally, I am. How can I not be? Limitless means it should include me. Heaven should include me. Correct? If heaven includes me, what is the need to go there? Very logical. So you see, the Viveka and Vairagya are forever twins. They are so close to one another. They are like sisters or brothers. Each one is informs the other. So here, so here also there are lots of objects of consumption. Bhoga Vishayaha. Bhoga Vishayaha, Vishayaha, objects. Bhoga, consumption, enjoyment. Bhoga Vishayaha, objects of enjoyment. Objects of enjoyments that are situated here means in this world. And Amutra and Swarga. Swarga is also something that everybody looks forward to. Yeah. You look forward to going to heaven. Why? Because it's a place free of pain and sorrow. And what are we saying? You are already free of pain and sorrow. That is to be known when? Not in heaven, here and now. And we also say that heaven is an impermanent place, just like all other places. Hell also is impermanent. How can hell be permanent? This is again, we are not talking of hell, but we should. Yeah. Naraka, hell, is also impermanent. Because in many traditions, in the Abrahamic traditions, hell is described as some place where you are burning forever. Correct? So what burns? Tell me. Body burns, correct? But the body you have left behind here to be buried. No, but the spirit burns, you know. So how long can it burn? Because the burning, the burning times for each metal, each thing that is here is what? Is finite. You can chart how long will it take for something to burn. You hold paper. Paper is extremely flammable, correct? A dry piece of paper you hold to the fire and then you watch, tick, 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 tick. Then you say, okay, this many seconds this burn. Then you take a dry piece of grass or a wood, flint, a piece of wood, and then you watch, okay, this took this long to burn into cinders, correct? So everything has a burning time. No, spirit is not subject to those times. All right, then we are coming to the realm of Vedanta. If the spirit is not subject to those times, then why are we using the fire? Fire, which is an earthly element. Very interesting. Yeah. Later, write it down. So, that is the thing. So, why are you using the metaphor of fire? Okay, it's all metaphorical. If it is metaphorical, then if it is eternal sorrow, let's say, eternal pain, what is the cause? What caused this pain? Because we have much more of a, what should I say, more steps, many step analysis here. What leads one to experience this pain? Karma, correct? So the pain is actually the fruit of karma. And how long does the fruit of karma last? Finite. So for us, the fruit of good karma is going to heaven in the hereafter, in between birth cycles, and the fruit of not so good karma is going to the other place, also for a short time, correct? Yeah.
Purgatory where you're stuck. You're going to end up in purgatory.
We don't have, thankfully. We don't have devil. We don't have purgatory. Yeah. We don't have that. And the only thing that is forever is Bhagavan, Ishvara, that is you. It's really all that is eternal. If God is eternal, you cannot be outside of that which is eternal. You, the conscious being, cannot be outside of that which is eternal, because if you separate yourself from God, God becomes non eternal because God does not include you. Simple. So, what is this Vairagya? It's described in the latter portion of this long sentence. Ichha rahityam. Ichha means what? Ichha is desire. Rahityam means absence of, freedom from. Freedom from what? Desire of what? Consuming, enjoying what? Objects. Where? In the here or in the hereafter, i.e., heaven. That is Vairagya. Understood? What is Vairagya? What is dispassion? The freedom from desiring constantly to be satiated by objects of enjoyments in the here or the hereafter. Let go of that as a goal in life and focus on oneself. Let go of the object. If you let go of the object, what is there to focus on? The subject. It's all about me in a good way. The teacher does not get a coffee break. Shamadhi, sadhana sampattihi, ka. Up till now it was kaha, correct? Kaha. Now it is kim, kim, and now it is ka. What is, yeah, the kim means neuter, ka is feminine, and then what is the other one? Kaha is masculine. So sampattihi, treasure. It's nice to know that treasure is a feminine word. Yeah. The treasure of Shama, etc. What is that? The student asks. Let's see what the teacher says. What does the teacher say? Shamodamaha, Uparamaha, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, Cheti. Yeah, the teacher also just gives the list. What is the list? Shamaha. What is Shamaha? Mastery of the mind. Damaha. Mastery of the organs of action. Titiksha. Staying power. The ability to not react to every single thing all the time. This titiksha. And Shraddha, letting go of control because I have trust. Samadhanam, single-minded focus. Uparama, uparati, more letting go of small things, trusting that everything will be okay. And then cha iti, and thus. The and actually goes in between Shraddha and Samadhanam, but we put the and in Sanskrit at the very end. So there are these six-fold treasures. One is endowed with the treasures. Shama and Dama are the earrings for a Vedantin. Yeah. Shraddha is the necklace. Correct? Yeah. Uparama is the head jewel. Chudamani. Correct? How many is that? 3, 4, 5. How many? Yeah. Yeah. Uparama is the head jewel. Shraddha is the shining necklace. Yeah. Titiksha is the bangle. Samadhanam is the anklet, that is the foundation. Yeah. So one is bejeweled. One comes to the class bejeweled, completely decked out in these wonderful ornamentations. This is the sixfold qualifications. Now what does the student do? What does the student do? Asks another question. Very chatty student. Shamaha, kaha, mano nigraha. Yeah, mano nigraha, shamaha. So, what is shama? The student then asks, asking about one earring. Mano nigraha. Nigraha comes from grah, to grasp. Ni, certainly. But here, nigraha means discipline with regard to the mind. Discipline or mastery of the mind is called shama. Shama is the mastery of the mind. We saw this in Atlanta. We talked a lot about the mastery of the mind there. And if the mind is not disciplined, what will happen? It will run after the sense organs. Wherever the sense organs are going, the mind runs after it. Something the eyes see, and the mind says, I want. Something that the ears hear, the mind goes after it. So the mind is constantly kept busy reacting to the perception of the senses. And the perception of the senses may be correct or incorrect, right? Like you see something shiny on the beach, and you think you've read somewhere that the government has released a silver dollar because of some president's day or something. Sometimes they do that. That information is in the mind, and the senses capture something shiny on the beach. Immediately, the senses, which are the eyes in this case, report to the mind. Do the eyes know it's a silver dollar? No. The eyes just say, shine alert, shiny object alert, 50 yards away, 100 yards away, and the mind jumps into the conclusion. What is the first conclusion? Silver dollar. And then second conclusion, here I go. You go running after this silver dollar, and then what do you find? Just mommy. Who's mommy? The mother of pearl. Yeah. It's just a piece of broken shell with a shiny mother of pearl. And the trick of the sunshine is making it, and the sand is making it appear the right size and the right shine and the right color to make the mistake. Correct? So the mind is that which is often mistaken. It comes to wrong conclusions based on raga and dvesha constantly. Yeah. It sees what it wants to see. And what is sad is sometimes it sees what it doesn't want to see. It sees that, even though it doesn't want to see that, it's kind of seeing that all the time. How? It draws conclusions, erroneous conclusions. It doesn't want to see something, but it keeps seeing that. It doesn't want to see that, that it doesn't want to think, okay, nobody likes me. But sometimes what happens if that fear is too much, if that feeling of abandonment or fear or pain or sorrow from that loneliness of not being wanted is too much, one keeps looking for justifications everywhere. Yeah, that is the mind. You cannot do anything about it. You cannot wish why it is like this. This is how the mind is. This is what samsara is. But we do have the ability to train the mind to not go to those places constantly. Yeah. To not look for ratifications of betrayal. To not look for justifications of loneliness. of abandonment, of not being loved, of not being liked, of being unwanted. This is where the mind will go. Mind will do what it's doing. So it sees, you see, it's a two-level thing. There are the sense objects, the sense perceptions, and then there is the mind which is coming to certain conclusions. Oh, maybe it's because they don't like me. Maybe it's because of this. Maybe it's because of that. The mind is constantly jumping. Like I said, it sees what it wants to see. Sometimes it tries to see what isn't true, because it's afraid. And so this mind has to be in my hands, correct? I cannot be in the hands of the mind. I become a pawn, a puppet, a sad little puppet dancing to the tunes of the mind. Who wants that? Nobody. So the mind has to listen to me. I have to take the mind to obedience school. Starting when? Wednesday. Wednesday at 1:15, we will talk about how to take the mind to obedience school, how to give it treats when it behaves, how to make it sit, how to make it stay, how to not make it react. All that we will see on Wednesday. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yeah, one announcement before everybody goes away. I changed one class from Saturday, February 4th, 10 to 1, Guru Stotram was going to meet, and we have changed that to that time to for 3 other times, which is starting tonight at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock? Yeah. 7? 7? Yeah. 7 to 8 today and next Monday, Guru Stotram. And on January 22nd, 4 to 6, Guru Stotram instead of the February 4th class. Please make a note of it. Yeah, I will also put a sign on the website. And also, on the same token, I want to announce before you go away that there is a new calendar here. So even if you have downloaded the calendar, where is the calendar? Yeah, you have to use this. Yeah, there we go. This 1 month calendar which is there. Yeah, this is this is there. The 1 month calendar. You please download again. That will have the new changes. And if there is anybody else that is taking this class that is not here today and you know of, you please let them know also. Okay. Any questions are there? And then stay on the line. Your attendance will be retaken again to make sure that everything is okay. Yeah. Take the attendance again. Any questions are there? Yes.
When you talk about nitya and anitya,
Yeah.
The description has to do with timelessness. The word limitlessness sort of came into the conversation. I'm wondering, is it assumed that these two are combined within that?
Nitya means timeless, and that which has no limits includes limitations of time. Right?
Okay, so it is.
Yeah, limitless is timeless.
Included by it.
Yes.
Okay. But in other places, they're broken apart.
Like
when we were studying Satchitananda.
Yeah, that's because we are looking deeply at the. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. That's a great question. We are looking deeply there into the kinds of limitations and the kinds, all the ways in which Brahman embodies limitlessness, all the ways in which Brahman is free of limitations. And those limitations are threefold: time-wise, object-wise, and space-wise. So that we are studying that in greater detail. That is absolutely correct. Here, limitlessness means timelessness, So, yeah. It's more all-inclusive here. Yeah.
And then, we talked about just the six, and I'm not sure what they are, sixfold something, which starts with birth, survival, birth, maturation, decline, and death. I'm missing one. I've only got 5.
birth survives birth.
Yeah.
Then blossoms. No, grows.
Oh, growth.
Yeah,
Growth,
grows.
maturation.
Yeah, growth. Yeah, growth, and then maturation is a separate
And
one.
these are called the
Six cycles, the sixfold cycles to which everything that is anitya is subject to. Yeah. Any questions are there online? Did I miss? Okay. Very nice. I'll see you all this evening. Guru Stotram at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much. Om. Did we say the closing prayer?
Yes.
Yes? Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.